All right, let's move on. We've had a nice long roundup of.
We didn't talk about what's going on in my life. I was asked out by so many guys this week, really quickly.
Really?
It
Okay,
was
hold on. We got to
it
set this up here. We
what?
have a segment for Allison, guys. She's bringing us into the love life here. It was a big week. We had what, five or more number asks, maybe
I
six or more.
mean, I think I think there were five different people that asked me out,
Okay.
none of which I was interested in. In all honesty, uh, the aggression towards me was so unappealing that I just was like,
Okay, now let's set it up for us. Take us through each one by one. I'm interested in this. What's going on here? Tell us the first one,
I,
where and
I'm
what
just
happened.
I'm just gonna highlight. I'll highlight three because two of them were just ridiculous.
But the
One,
ridiculous ones are the best.
like it was like a very elderly man. Like we're
Oh, you
talking.
got to tell us. I'm dying.
I can't. So I am trying to learn a lot about Scotch.
Okay.
I'm a sommelier, and I also have to learn about all other beverages in that way other than wine. And so I'm a part of two different Scotch society clubs, and I have all these amazing secret tastings, and it's like so I'm so grateful that I'm a part of them.
Scotch Society.
It's true. Um, and so there was this. And to be a woman tasting scotch, I get it. Like, not a lot of women drink a lot of scotch. So, like, there's usually like maybe it's like 10% women and the rest are men. I get it. We're a rarity. But, like, just so you know, women's palates are better than men, just so y'all know, women out there. So, get to tasting. Um, anyway, so I set up my stuff. I have a scotch notebook. I have like my little dropper that I bring, like the whole thing. Like, I know how to taste scotch.
Or like you take a little drop and
Yeah, but I have like an actual little eyedropper that is really like the pro move there. Or you have a glass of ice water next to you and you have that with this. Anyway, so I'm setting up. I'm very happy. Like I have a good spot. I'm towards the front so I can hear everything. And this guy plops down across from me and introduces himself. And I've introduced myself to everybody. And I'm, of course, going to be gracious and introduce myself to the person sitting across from me.
of course.
And they were like, I'm blank, blah, 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 blah. Is this your first time here? And I said, no. And I said, you and I have actually sat before uh, next to each other. And he's like, oh, no, we've never met before. And I was like, I can actually tell you the events we've met at, but okay. He's like, I promise I'd never forget a face like yours. And I was like, well, obviously you have because I haven't forgotten your face. And anyway, the night goes on, and he's like asking me what my tasting notes are. And he's like, gosh, you're so good at tastings. I didn't taste any of this. And he's like, are you married? And I said, I'm not. And he's like, well, I'm divorced. And I said, great. Like, what? Good for you. And he's like, well, do you like drinking scotch? And I was like, well, yes, I'm here. This is very confusing, all these questions. Very good. And then he's chatting
I
with
was
me, and
forced to
he's
come here against my will.
in the middle of the thing, he slides his card and he goes, "Well, we should." Oh, hello, Dolly. Well, here she can tell I'm very agitated telling the story, and she's like, "I'm here to comfort you." I'm like,
Hmm.
all right, Dolly. There you go. Anyway, the night continues, and he's like, "This is my card. Like, we should find time to taste scotch together." And I was like, "I don't think so." And I was really nice about it at
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh no?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." I'm like, I come to these events often. That's basically the time I have to taste scotch. I like to teach it in a like I like to be at a formal setting. I don't really do private scotch tastings with men. And he's like, "Oh." And I let him know from the beginning I was not interested.
That's pretty concrete.
And so I then am talking to other people in the who are there at the tasting. I'm like talking about the scotch and everything, and he like literally physically pulls me aside, like physically pulls me out of a circle, and he's like, "So when are we having scotch together?" And I said pretty clearly that I wasn't interested, and now you're getting physical with me, and I need you to back away.
Stop! Back away!
And to the point where the head of the program came up to me and he's like, "Is everything okay?" And I said, "Actually, no, I'm really feeling uncomfortable. Can you ask him to leave?" Like, enough already. I'm tired of women. and and so this situation happened to me like twice more during the week where men were super aggressive asking me out. I was very polite about it, where I politely was like, I'm not interested, thank you so much, I'm very flattered, no thank you. And got like, one guy was like, why not? And I said, because you're being super aggressive, and if this is how you're asking me out, I can't imagine what you're like in a social setting.
Yeah, when your guard is down.
Right. And he was like, well, you're being really rude about it. And I said, thank you so much. I'm too busy right now. Like I did it in the nicest way. I did it in a very nice way.
Of
And
course.
the third person asked me out at my job, like as I am working, and
Master?
yes, and pulled me
God.
at the bar when I had a tray of drinks in my hand and kissed me and said, I can't wait to take you out. And I said, sir, I said, please don't let me get security. I have a
Yeah.
tray full of drinks in my hand. You've now like crossed so many boundaries by because I can't like whack you. I have it like a $200
Bro,
drinks in my
you could
hand.
be sick. You could have the flu. You could have freaking COVID. You could have freaking.
Just I think nice girl era is over for me. I think I'm just gonna be like, you can fuck right off because like
Yeah.
I'm a very, very nice person, and I think people take advantage of that. So the person, when I was at my job who kissed
Golly.
me, I was just like, I was like, I was like, finally, I was like, sir, I have a question. What do you do? And he's like, I'm a doctor. I'm like, I'm sorry. So if in the middle of you examining someone, if someone kissed you, how would you feel about that? And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm at my job.
What do you mean?
He's back
Oh,
away.
shit.
And he's like, okay, God, I just thought it'd be cute. You're so cute. I just thought it'd be cute to give you a kiss. And I'm like, not cute. Not cute. Yeah. So this is,
Listen,
people. Yeah.
let me
Anyway,
not. This is for the fellas watching. Guys, look. Guys. A woman has to give you both nonverbal and verbal signals that she wants the interaction to continue. You have to be looking for signals. Just a person talking to you is not a signal. The signal is, showing you kindness in their eyes, being asking more questions of you. They're letting the interplay work back and forth. Like when someone wants you to be there talking to them, it's going to feel right, and you're going to know they want you to talk to them. It's going to be like, oh, this person is vibing with me. Like you'll feel it. If you're not feeling it, don't force it. Stop fucking forcing it. Like being a guy and hearing stories like this is exhausting. It's probably 30 times more exhausting for you to take it. But I have heard from female. I'm one of the guys who have had a lot of female friends kind of like my whole life. Like my first best friend in kindergarten was a girl. And from there, I've just had like friends, good amount of girlfriends. And when you hear these stories, you're just like, fuck, oh gosh.
yeah. And the third one was this person who I become friends with, and he asked me out on a date, and I said, I'm really sorry if I led any like same thing. Like if I gave you any signal to think that there was something romantic happening, there was nothing on my end romantic happening.
Mm,
And that's hard too because like I know there's that old thing of like, can men and women really be friends? I think yes,
yes.
but some people don't buy into that. So he was like, oh, but you were like the same thing where it was like I was just being a sounding board for him. And then he was like, well, I'd like to take you out to dinner. And I literally said, I don't want to be blunt, but is this a romantic invitation or us just being friends? Because I'm not interested in you romantically. And like in like a super lovely way.
Yeah.
And like both a lot of female friends are like, just try it. You never know. But I think women know. I think we know if we are attracted to someone physically. And I know the whole thing is like love can bloom out of friendship. It absolutely can. And I think every good relationship I've ever been in has always become my best friend as well. But I think initially I was attracted to you
Yeah.
physically. I
Yeah.
think that has to come initially in some way.
It does. The it's funny that saying, "Can men and women really be friends?" It has to come from a guy, like
It
that.
has, because women would be like, yeah, absolutely. I'm friends with lots of guys.
Yeah, guys, because we're such sexual. We're like you've heard the old stat. Guys think about sex like 10 times more than a woman during the day. Like as minutes pass throughout the day, we're just like sex, sex, sex. So it's
And,
just like
and
going through our heads.
and women are like, where's the toilet? I have to pee. It's like the same.
Exactly. Later's like, oh my god, my side hurts. Um,
Yeah. Adam,
exactly. Yeah. Like, oh, my calves, these heels. Um, and so guys are we create those kinds of sayings because we're like all the time thinking about sex, but women are just like, yeah, of course we could be friends, dude. Like chill the
yeah,
freak out.
chill, chill.
Just chill out. Yeah, listen, guys, do better. Chill
Yeah.
out.
And I'm super, look, if this person would have not been so aggressive with me at my job, I might have like entertained having a drink with them,
Yeah.
but you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. I got to a point when because obviously rejection is hard, but you have to, and when you're young, you don't know any better. But you as you get older, you have to learn, like, look, there are people who will be clearly giving you signals.
Like women, I won't speak for women. I'll speak for myself. When I am interested in you, I will like absolutely be like, I think you're really attractive. We should go out sometime. I will say something like that verbatim. There will be no gray area.
Yeah. No wishy-washy stuff.
Yeah.
The signals are there. People just need to learn to look for the signals, but also guys, because they're so superficial, will often look at the hottest person in their sphere or in their 20-meter radius and be like, she's giving me signals. She's hot. And like, that's not a signal. They're just walking. Like, yeah, it's just, and so once we have locked our eyes onto the person that we have decided that is our physical attraction, it's hard to be like, oh, wait, if I had just turned to the left, I could have noticed this person who's like staring at me, like going like this. But no, I got locked into this person over here.
Yes. Anyway, sorry, we
Now,
got very off topic, but
no, that's
it
good
happens.
though. That's the beauty of the cast. That's what I want the cast for.
I would love feedback from women who are like, this is how I found a successful relationship, because I'm just curious, how did you meet your significant other? We should bring people on and like have people talk about that.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I'll give you a quick little anecdote. It's very quick and short. I know a wingman helps. Fiance, when we first met, I was my buddy Jasper, and I was also an actor. Shout out to Jasper. We were out chasing women, doing our thing. We were at a club, and we were about to head out. But I was like, "Oh, let me go ask her to dance," because we had locked eyes. There was some connection, and you could see it. Felt like as I walked over, we still had the connection. She didn't like turn away. You know what I'm saying? It was like reciprocal as I walked over.